الأمين المكين الحنين الكريم الرؤوف الرحيم. أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قال الله تعالى في شأن حبيبه إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل وسلم على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد كما تحب وترضى بأن تصلي عليه. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Most respected ulama, my respected elders, brothers and sisters in Islam, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. We are discussing Kitab al-Zuhud of Imam al-Tirmidhi, and we are on the new chapter which is Bab Ma Ja'a fi Hawani Dunya ala Allah Azza wa Jal. It is narrated عن سهل بن سعد الساعدي رضي الله تعالى عنه قال لو كانت الدنيا تعدل عند الله جناح بعوضة ما سقى كافرا منها. Oh, صدق رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. The Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam has stated that if the world to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was equal even to a mosquito's wing, then he would not allow the disbeliever to have a sip of water from it. Meaning, if this dunya, now I want to clarify one issue in terms of dunya. Very many of us, when we have this mental concept of ours in dunya, dunya means planet Earth. Planet Earth, the mountains and the forests and the motions and the trees and flowers and that's not dunya. That's planet Earth. Dunya is al-hayatu dunya, the worldly life. If there was any value in terms of the worldly life or any value in what we value in worldly life in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wouldn't even give, if it had even value to the weight of a mosquito's wing, then Allah wouldn't give a sip of water even for a disbeliever to drink from. That's what dunya is. Dunya is not planet Earth. Dunya is our worldly life and how much of value you and I attach to that worldly life. Okay? You've got to understand, because many people, they curse the dunya is the same from the time of Adam ala nabiyina wa alayhi salatu wassalam. The sun has risen and has set, and people have come and people have gone. Dunya, planet Earth, has remained the same. The alternation of night and day, the cosmic cycles, all of that have remained the same. The ocean, it's the same. Nothing changes there. It's our attitude towards this worldly life. It's our attachment to this worldly life. It's how much of value that we attach to the worldly life that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is speaking about. Now, Imam Ali karamullah ta'ala wajhahul kareem, or in fact, or one of the other Imam of Ahlul Bayt, I'm not too sure, was asked about dunya. They asked the first question, Lima summiyat dunya? Why was dunya called dunya? So he said, why was it given the name of ad-dunya? Then Sayyidina Ali karamullah ta'ala wajhahul kareem, or one of the other Imam of Ahlul Bayt said, he said, qal ad-dunya daniyatun. He said, ad-dunya is given this name because it is lowly. Another word for the word dunya is derived from dunu. Dunu, which means near or nearer or closer. Like in the ayat of the Quran of Ihsan Mi'raj, thumma dana. And he drew close, he drew near. Like a tree that is fully laden with fruit, it's easy to pluck, it's closer. So the fruit which is fully laden there, it's easy, it's closer to you, it's nearer. So in terms of, in comparison to akhirah, which is not accessible to us, in terms of the akhirah, which is the hereafter and the afterlife, which is not open for us right now, dunya is nearer. The place that you and I occupy for a period of time, which is closer to us and which we have greater access to, is dunya. And all of the mata', all of the provisions of the dunya, all those things which make our life in dunya comfortable are easier for us to access than those things which will make us be able to access the akhirah. Because accessing the akhirah means requiring you to do hard work, makes effort. Whereas all the provisions of dunya are very easy for you to access. And once you get the taste of all of the pleasures and the comforts and the luxuries of dunya, you tend to incline more towards it because it's easily accessible to you. That's why it's called dunya, right? So it has, and it also has a second meaning, which is it has a low level, meaning in terms of ranking, it is low. And then he said, ad-dunya daniyatun khuliqat min dunil akhirah. It was created, dunya means which is something which is closer, and it was created at a lower level compared to the akhirah. Therefore, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَمَا الْحَيَاةُ الدُّنْيَا إِلَّا لَهْوٌ وَلَعِبٌ. What is the life of this world, or what is this worldly life? إِلَّا لَهْوٌ وَلَعِبٌ, except play and amusement and play. وَإِنَّ الدَّارَ الْآخِرَةَ لَهِيَ لَحَيَوَانٌ لَوْ كَانُوا يَعْلَمُونَ. But this is the hereafter and the afterlife, right, which is the real life and the one that is going to abide, if you only knew. So Ali al-Murtada radiallahu ta'ala said, he said the dunya has been created at a lower level in terms of value than the akhirah. And he says, وَلَوْ خُلِقَتْ مَعَ الْآخِرَةِ لَمْ يَفْنَى أَهْلُ كَمَا يَفْنَى أَهْلُ الْآخِرَةِ. If the dunya was created equal in ranking and equal in terms of value to the akhirah, then no one of the dunya would have died. Because one of the distinctions of the akhirah, the eternal life or the afterlife, is that there is no real tasting of death per se by any human being. The taste of that kullu nafsin dha'iqatul maut is particular or peculiar to this earthly life. Remember, this life of yours that you are living in this earthly dimension, what we call planet Earth, is one of many stages. In reality, it's one of 7 stages, if I'm not mistaken. Right? You've already lived in alamul arwah. You existed in a dimension which was known as what we call alamul arwah, or the world of souls. Right? Wherein you are in your pre-Adamic state. Quran speaks about it in Surah Al-A'raf. Allah asks you the question, do you remember? وَإِذْ أَخَذَ رَبُّكَ مِنْ بَنِي آدَمَ مِنْ ظُهُورِهِمْ ذُرِّيَّتَهُمْ وَأَشْهَدَهُمْ عَلَىٰ أَنفُسِهِمْ أَلَسْتُ بِرَبِّكُمْ. There was a time when you were nothing. You were in your pre-Adamic state. You were in alam al-dhar. Right? You were in a sub-atomic world. Right? In terms of existence. And Allah, you were in the presence of God. And Allah asked every one of us the question, am I not your Lord? And we all responded. So you've lived one dimension of existence, which is in alam al-dhar, or you're in your pre-Adamic state. Then you were transferred from the world of souls, just for you to understand, into the womb of your mother. And that too, the fetus, as you know, the body developed independently for a period of time, and thereafter the soul was blown into that fetus, and you became a fully fledged human being in the womb of your mother. And you lived there for plus minus, with soul and body, I think it would be about 6 months. You lived, you ate, you drank, you slept. Right? God forbid, if your mother was a cocaine addict, you'll be born and you'll end up with withdrawal symptoms, because astaghfirullah, but you understand what I mean? Meaning it had an effect on you. Do you remember any of it? And then what happened? You died. What was dying? You were transferred from one dimension to another dimension. You were transferred from the womb of your mother. If anybody were to tell that child who's in the womb of his or her mother right now, right, that you know what, in dhulumatin thalas, in plus minus a maximum of 10 centimeters of skin, there is a world out there that has trees and mountains and oceans and animals and massive high-rise buildings, and it has vast expanses, right, of land. Where is this world? Literally, what separates you is barzakh, an intermediary piece of a veil of 10 centimeters, which separates you from this world. Would a child believe it when it's ensconced inside the pod of the mother's womb? No. Similarly, one of the scholars also says something very interesting. He said, this dunya and the worldly life is not necessarily bad. It's bad for those people who attach value to it. But just like the fetus and the body and the human being develops in the womb of the mother, similarly, the soul's development and the unfolding, the world becomes a womb for it. This world and this earthly life, as you and I live, becomes the world for it, and the gestation period for the soul to unlock its potential and for you to know your Lord. So it's the time, and this dunya is fundamentally for you to be able to come to know your Lord. وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ. So that's when the scholars have said, they say, once you've discovered your true purpose in life, and you use this world as a womb for the soul to grow and develop, like the fetus develops completely until 9 months and whatever it is there, to develop there, then the tiflul ma'ani, the child of meanings will be born. Meaning your soul would unfold. Okay, that's a bit philosophical now for you, but let's not go there, but you get the point, right? Therefore, the hadith of the Prophet of Allah, the Prophet of Allah said, Allah, inna dunya mal'una. All of worldly matters and all of worldly life is cursed. As much as you may covet it, whether it is money, whether it is women, whether it is cars, whether it is properties, whether it is business, whether it's name, whether it's fame, right? It's still cursed. Once you have it, it's a curse. Ala inna dunya mal'unun. Mal'unun ma fiha. Everything in this dunya is cursed. Illa except dhikr Allah, the zikr of Allah. Wama wala. And that which will predispose you and incline you towards the zikr of Allah. Wa aliman, and a teacher who teaches you about the dhikr of Allah and about your purpose in life. O muta'allima, and a true seeker of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Everybody else and everything else and every matter in the dunya is cursed besides the dhikr of Allah and that which will incline you and predispose you towards it, and the teacher and the student who's willing to learn. Allah make us from amongst those who are